We are pausing assistance to the government for the time being. That assistance will affect development aid to the government, security aid to the government. It's a significant amount. I don't have a number because it's a pause, and it's a pause that we would hope would be reversed if the junta leaders would step aside and restore constitutional order.
In the aftermath of the United States of America suspending aid to Niger and vehemently denouncing the military regime that the junta is trying to set in place, members of the junta have retaliated to the U.S. as a show of their defiance to Washington's attempts to influence developments in their country. This retaliation is in form of the Niger military junta refusing to give the United States what it wants, or rather denying the Americans the opportunity to have their way in Niger without any limits. So here is what has happened. According to a statement issued by the U.S. Department of State spokesperson Matthew Miller, the acting Deputy Secretary of State Victoria Nuland traveled to Niamey on August 7 to express America's concerns regarding developments in Niger and the Biden administration's resolute commitment to supporting democracy and constitutional order in the country. That, Victoria Nuland met with Nigerian civil societies, and separately met with members of the Niger military junta to explain, or rather warn them on what is at stake if Niger does not respect its own constitutional order. The warning being, a potential loss of hundreds of millions of dollars in economic and security support for Niger. Matthew Miller also acknowledged in that statement that the U.S. had suspended aid to the government of Niger to pile pressure on the military junta to consider reinstating Mohamed Bazoum's presidency, and will remain in close contact with ECOWAS, which is one of its closest allies in the region. However, he did not mention the fact that Victoria Nuland was denied request to meet the embattled President Mohamed Bazoum, who just 2 days prior to her visit to Niamey had called on the United States and its allies to help him regain his presidency. It's for this reason that we have brought to you this video to explain the 3 possible reasons why the acting Deputy Secretary of State was barred from having her way in Niamey, or rather meeting Bazoum. Number 1. It was retaliation for the United States denouncing the military coup and suspending aid. Upon the United States condemning the military coup, it immediately became an enemy of the Niger junta and therefore denying the Americans the chance to freely roam in Niamey and see whoever they want was the least of the responses they could undertake. Number 2. To prevent the United States from giving Bazoum tips on how to regain power. The military junta possibly suspected that by allowing Nuland and her delegation to meet Bazoum as they had requested, they would have shared with him America's tips on how to regain the presidency. And not just the tips, but also a clear plot of the steps to take, for him to overthrow the current military junta and get back to the presidential palace. Number 3. To avoid losing public support. As it stands right now, the Niger military junta seems to enjoy the support of a majority of the citizens, especially in Niamey city. But had Bazoum been allowed to meet the American delegation, and photos or videos of their meeting been shared in the media afterwards, it would have worked as free publicity for him, and this would in turn have made him gain public sympathy. The sympathy would have in turn eroded the public support that the junta enjoys, making it possible for public discord to rise. Then this would have led to anti-military protests all over the country, something which is the worst nightmare that the military junta can face right now or even in the near future if it wants to stay in power. Do you support the Niger military junta's stand on this? Leave your comment below and don't forget to subscribe before leaving.
Ce soir que nous l'avons été avant-hier. Merci beaucoup Amina et bonne chance.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Allez, au revoir.
Au revoir. Oui, oui.
Merci.